Mo froze. I'm not sure if we lost Mo or not. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
He's back. All right, let's get started laying on our backs here today with the soles of the feet together. Knees will be bent. Sort of splayed out wide here. Your arms can just settle down by your side. Let the eyes soften and shut. Start to lengthen out your inhales and exhales, moving the breath rounds through the nose. Just settling into this space here this morning. Let go of any distractions for the day, anything on the to-do list, just kind of coming into this here and now. Keep breathing in deep through the nose and out through the nose. And everything relax and settle into the mat beneath you. Let's do one last deep inhale in. And then through the mouth this time, let it all go. Go ahead and let your eyes open up here. Bring the knees together and then the soles of the feet off the mat, and give yourself a nice big hug here with your hands on your shins or your knees, pulling the knees in towards the chest. Then we're going to go ahead and release the knees and then stack your right knee on top of your left knee, and then grab the tops of both feet and start to pull the feet in towards the hips. Trying to let the low back settle down onto the mat. Just kind of stretching out here a bit to start. Doing a lot of hip work today. Let's do one last deep inhale on this side. And as you exhale, go ahead and release the feet. Stack the left knee on top of the right. And again, roll up the spine as you grab the tops of both feet and start to pull the feet in towards the hips as you start to settle down the low back, rolling down the spine. Only as far as you can this morning. Just warming up here. Each side is going to present itself differently as well. Let's do one last deep inhale here. And as you exhale, go ahead and release the knees or feet and pull both knees into the chest. Let the left leg go long, keeping the right knee bent in towards the chest, and grab the outside of the right knee with the left hand as you roll off onto the left hip here. Let the right arm go long. We're going to keep that left hand on the right knee. Starting off with just a bit of a stretch here, and then we'll start doing some of our mobility work. So from this position, just take a moment to notice your hips here. Make sure that your right hip is really stacked over your left hip as much as you can. And then that right inside of the foot is going to be on the floor here next to you. And bring your gaze up to the ceiling and start to engage the rest of the body. And start to keep the left hand where it is and start to press the right knee into the left hand. And then start to pull that right knee down towards the mat, trying to keep the hips where they are. And then press the right knee into the hand. This time we're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now pull that left knee down towards the mat, away from your, the right knee down towards the mat, away from your left hand. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll back up to center, pulling both knees into the chest. And then let the right leg go long, grabbing the outside of the left knee with the right hand and rolling off onto the right hip. Left arm goes out long next to you. Do a few breath rounds, just stretching it out here, passively stretching. And then take a moment to notice your hips and maybe restack them a little bit so that the left hip is right on top of the right hip. And make sure that the inside of the left foot is on the ground, if that's possible, as close to the ground as you can. And then engage the rest of the body here and start to press the left knee into the right hand without moving the right hand. And now start to pull that left knee down towards the mat, any amount that's available here, or at least make that effort to. And then start to press that left knee into the right hand again here. Amping up the pressure here, maybe up to 80%, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then start to pull that left knee down towards the floor. It's 80% effort here, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then come back up to center. We'll pull both knees into the chest again one more time. And then we're going to let the left leg go long again, this time keeping the right leg bent at a 90-degree angle with the sole of the foot facing the bottom of the mat here. So we're going to grab with our hands around our thigh. You can interlace your fingers behind the thigh if that helps to stabilize a little bit more here. We're going to try to keep the thigh just in this same position here as we go through these movements. So we're going to start by rotating the inside of the foot up towards the hips as much as you can, pulling it up towards your left shoulder. And then bring it outside to the outside as far as you can. Trying to keep that thigh as still as you can here. And pull it back to the inside. Really lifting, like kind of like you're kicking a hacky sack here, like if you're kicking a hacky sack on your back. And hold here, coming to the end range of your motion here, holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then bring it to the outside as far as you can go. Keep the rest of the body nice and engaged. The left toes are drawing towards the left shins here. And really press the outside of the foot up towards your right shoulder as much as you can here, holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go back to the inside one more time here, pulling that left foot in, the inside of the right foot in towards the left shoulder as much as you can here. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then bring it back to the outside as far as you can go, getting to that end range motion. Keep those left toes engaged, the rest of the body engaged, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and release the right leg long. Pull the left knee in towards the chest here. And then keep the left knee right over the left hip here so that your foot is at a 90-degree angle towards the bottom of the mat here with your knee. Grab those hands behind the thigh or just around the thigh, whatever's most available to you here. We'll start by lifting the inside of the left foot up towards the seat and towards your right shoulder. Coming to your end range motion, keep everything else engaged. Those right toes are engaged. Really come up as far as you can go. And then come to the outside, rotating the foot out. So outside of the foot is coming up towards the left shoulder. And then we're going to rotate it back to the inside, coming to our internal rotation here. And then come to your end range motion. Really make all your effort to go as far as you can, engaging those right toes. And we're going to hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now bring the outside of the foot to the outside of the mat, as far as you can go. All the toes are engaged and drawing back towards the shins, holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inside of the foot comes back up, rotating it in, internally rotating. So the left inside of the foot is coming up towards the right shoulder. Really go as far as you can go here. Nice work, holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it to the outside of the mat here. One last time here, going as far as you can go, trying to keep that left thigh as still as you can, holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and release that left leg out long. We're going to pull the right leg in one more time here. So we're at a 90-degree angle again with our right knee. Sole of the right foot is facing towards the bottom of the mat. Nice work. We're going to do some ankle cars here. So we're going to start by pointing the toes down, and then bring the toes to the inside. Draw the toes back up towards the shin, toes to the outside. Point the toes down, toes to the inside, toes up towards the shin, back to the outside. Switching directions, bring them up towards the shin, to the inside, pause, to the bottom, pause, to the outside, and we'll pause, back up towards the shins, to the inside as far as you can go, and then back pointed long. So now we're going to take the inside of the right foot and grab it with your left hand. So bring your torso up just a bit. So you're grabbing the outside of your right foot with your left hand and really pull that right foot in towards your chest here. And keep those left toes engaged, keep the belly engaged, keep everything engaged here. And the right toes drawing in towards the right shin. We'll just stretch for a second, and then we're going to try to keep as much of this activation and mobility in as much as we can as we start to slowly release the hand. So engage everything, really pull that right foot in, and you're going to try to keep as much of this range of motion as you can. So start to slowly release that left hand, bring your right hand to your right thigh, maybe behind it. And then slowly start to let the fingers go, trying to hold it in as much as you can. And then let it go, and we're going to hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release that right leg long. Pull the left knee in up to a 90-degree angle. Sole of the left foot faces the bottom of the mat. Place both of your hands behind your left thigh and draw those right toes in towards your right shin. So starting with some ankle cars, let's go ahead and point our left toes down towards the bottom of the mat. Point them towards the inside of the mat, up towards the ceiling, to the outside, down towards the bottom of the mat, to the inside, up towards your shins, to the outside, down towards the floor, and then switching, we're going to the outside, and then up towards your shins, to the inside, down towards the mat, to the outside, back up towards your shin, and then back to the inside and point them down one last time. All right, so now bring your torso up and then grab the outside of your left foot with your right hand, so the hand's on the sole of the foot. Place your left hand on the outside of your left thigh, just for some feedback here. And then start to pull your left foot in towards your right armpit as much as you can here. Engage those right toes and try to keep as much of the right leg on the ground as you can. And we're going to hold here for a second, just so that we know where our passive range of motion is. We're going to try to keep this passive range of motion as we slowly release the right hand. So engage everything, really try to pull in that left foot, trying to keep that engagement. And slowly let the right hand start to peel away from the left foot. And finally release it. And then we're going to hold in that release point. Maybe you come back into that passive range of motion a little bit more if you can, actively. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release that left leg long. We're going to roll onto our left hip here. So you can make a pillow with your bottom arm. I'm just going to adjust the camera just slightly here. So the left leg is long beneath you here. And we're going to bring the right leg out in front of you as far as you can here. So towards the left side of the mat. So you're kind of like scissor kicking here. Yep, you guys both look good. So you can either have your head kind of down here if you want, or you can have your head kind of posted up on your hand with a little bit of a stand here. So from here, we're going to do some pails and rails. So we're going to start by pressing that right foot, inside of the right foot into the mat, starting at about a 60% effort, 70, keep everything else engaged here. Belly is toned, and we're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now lift the foot up off the mat as high as you can go. And once you get to that end range, you're going to hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Place the foot back down on the mat or the floor and really press in on the inside of that foot. Holding it here for 5, keeping everything engaged. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift the foot back up, going as high as you can go. Holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the foot back down, and you're going to press in for a few breath rounds here. Nice deep breath in as you press in, this time with as much might as you can. Press, 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 press. You guys got this. Holding it for 3, 2, 1. And now lift that right foot up as high as you can. Maybe go up a little bit further than you did before. Really make all your effort to lift it up. Leg might be shaking a little bit. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release it back down. And then you'll roll off onto your other hip. So right leg is long underneath you. And then bring the left leg across the body here, out in front of you as much as you can. sort of scissoring your hand or your feet here, your legs and feet. All right. And so the inside of the left foot is on the ground, making a little pillow with your hand or a little stand for your head. And then we're going to start to press in the inside of the left foot as you engage the rest of the body. Starting at about a 60% effort, ramping up to 70 and holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now lift that left foot up as high as you can go. Holding it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Place the inside of that foot back down on the mat. Really press in on the inside edge, holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift that left foot up as high as you can go. Really engage everything here. Try to keep everything else as still as possible. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work, you guys. Bring the inside of that left foot down to the mat. Really start to press in with all of your might here this time. Breathing deep here, nice deep breath rounds. Holding it for 3, 2, 1. Lift that foot up one last time. Maybe go a little bit higher than you did before. Engaging everything here, pressing through the outside of the right foot as to help stabilize. Holding it for 3, 2, 1. And then release the foot back down. Come back onto your back here. Grab behind your thighs and start to roll up your spine to make your way to a tabletop all fours position. Spread your fingertips out wide here. We're going to go through just a couple cat-cows. Nice neutral spine to start. So we're going to lift the tailbone up, drop the belly, drop the mid-ribs, the chest, and finally lift the chin up. Then starting at the tailbone again, we're going to tuck the tailbone, keeping the chin lifted, round the low back, round the mid back, upper back, and finally tuck the chin. Lifting the chin up this time first. We're going to drop the chest then, the lower ribs, the low back, and finally the tailbone comes up. And starting with the chin again, we're going to tuck the chin in, press through the hands and around the upper back, mid back, low back, and finally tucking the tailbone. So we're going to walk our right foot between our hands here. So you're framing your right foot with your hands. And then let's walk our left knee back maybe just a tad here. So a nice long stance in between your right heel and your left knee. And then place your fingertips on the mat. And we're going to start to bring our hips back and come to our half splits here. So straighten the right legs. And draw the toes back towards your right shin. Just take a moment here to settle. Make sure your hips are square to the bottom of the mat here. We're going to do some rotational work here. So let's go ahead and bring our toes to the outside of the mat as far as you can go. Hold for a breath round. And now roll the toes back up and then to the inside as far as you can go, trying to keep that left hip nice and still. Hold for a breath round. Bring the toes back to the outside edge of the mat. And this time we're going to hold for 5, 4. Really bring those toes down, all your engagement. 3. Nice work, guys. 2, 1. Bring the toes back up. And then to the inside, trying to keep that left hip where it's at. And hold here with all of your effort for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the toes back up to center, bend into that right knee, bringing the sole of the right foot back to the ground. Frame your front foot, bring your right knee back, and then we're going to switch sides here. So left foot comes between the hands, walk that right knee back a little bit, and then go ahead and make your way to your half splits here. So start to straighten that left leg, drawing the left toes back. Make any adjustments that you need to so that your hips are square with the front of the room. You don't want to be kind of moving off to one side here. So hips are square to the mat as well as being over the knee here. So fingertips are on the floor or on some blocks if you have blocks. And draw those left toes back towards your shin. And now draw the outside of the foot down towards the outside of the mat as far as you can go. Holding for a breath round. And then bring the toes to the inside as far as you can go, trying to keep that right hip as still as you can. Holding for a breath round. Bring the toes back to the outside as far as you can go. And then we'll hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the toes back up and then to the inside as far as you can go. Trying to keep that right hip nice and still here. Keep everything else engaged. We'll hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and release. Bring the sole of the foot back down towards the mat. Come back to your tabletop position. Make the adjustments that you need to so that your wrists are under your shoulders, knees are under the hips. Do one more cat-cow here. So inhale to drop the belly, lifting the tailbone up, and then broadening through the chest and finally lifting the chin up. And now tucking the chin, rounding the upper back, mid back, low back, and finally the tailbone. Make your way back to your neutral spine here. On your next inhale, you're gonna bring your right foot out as wide as you can. So I'll face you guys here so you can see me a little bit better. So your right foot out as wide as you can. Your right heel should be in line with your left knee. Hands are on the floor in front of you here. So try to bring as much of the sole of the foot onto the ground as you can with that left or with that right sole. Take an inhale in here and exhale to engage the body and settle. Engaging that right quad, right thigh, and now start to press the right foot into the mat, keeping everything else nice and engaged here. And now start to lift that left foot up off the mat any amount that you can, or just make that effort to. Bring the sole of the foot back down to the mat and start to press that right foot into the floor. And this time we're going to hold for 5. Keep everything engaged. 4. Really press in. 3, 2, 1. Now lift that left foot up or make the effort to lift it up. Holding it for 5, 4. You guys are doing great. 3, 2, 1. Release the sole of the foot back down to the floor. And then start to press in, this time amping it up to as much effort as you can. And start to hold here once you've hit your full maximum capacity. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift that right foot up off of the mat as high as you can, or just make that effort to lift it up. If you can't get it off the ground, that's totally fine. It's all about the effort. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend that right knee, bring it back underneath your hips. Switching sides so the left leg goes out long next to you. So again, that left heel should be in line with your right knee here. Hands are on the floor, fingertips nice and wide. Make sure you're pressing through the top of your right foot as you start to bring some pressure into the floor with your left foot here. Just nice and light this first time. Now we're gonna lift that left foot up as high as you can, just for a breath round. And bring the sole of the foot back down to the mat. You guys are doing great. Really press in with that left foot. This time we're gonna hold for 5, 4, press everything in, press through the top of that right foot. 3, 2, 1. And now lift the left foot up as high as you can go. Cramping may happen, it's fine. If it is, just come out of it and then try to come back in, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the foot back down to the mat. One more time on each of these. We're going to press through the sole of the foot, pressing through the top of the right foot. Really engaging everything, going at 100% effort this time. Holding for 5, 4. You guys got this. 3, 2, 1. Lift that left foot up as high as you can. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend the left knee, bring it back underneath the hips. Coming back to your tabletop position. I'm just sitting on the heels for just a second and roll out the wrists. Nice slow rollouts here. And switch directions. And then we're going to make our way back to our tabletop position. So hands underneath the shoulders here. Knees under the hips. We're going to do some hip cars here. So we're going to bring all our weight into our left knee and start to hover the right knee and right foot off of the ground. Tone the belly here, press through the entire hand and the entire palm of the hand. Now we're going to lift the knee up towards the right elbow. Bring it out to the outside. And then start to bring it behind you as you lift the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling, lifting the knee up as high as you can go. Trying to keep the belly nice and toned, no curvature in the spine here. And then bring the knee back down to meet the left. Bring it back up towards the right elbow. And then out to the outside. Shin should be parallel to the floor. And now as you bring it behind you, the sole of the foot goes up towards the ceiling as you do so. And then bring it back down towards the left knee. And then switch directions. We're going to lift it up and back behind you, lifting the right knee up as high as you can, the sole of the foot towards the ceiling. Bring it to the outside next to you so that the knee comes down and the foot comes down. Shin is parallel to the floor. Bring the right knee back towards the right elbow. And then back to the behind you here, lifting it up as high as you can go. Sole of the foot towards the ceiling, keeping the belly nice and toned. Bring it to the outside, bringing the foot down to be parallel with the right knee. And then back to the right elbow. And bring it back down towards the mat. Switching sides here, we're going to hover that left knee off the ground. Engage everything here. We're going to keep the belly nice and toned. We don't want to be dropping the belly down during this. So lift that left knee up towards the left elbow. Left knee out to the outside. And then bring the left knee out behind you and turn the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling. Left knee comes down and then back up towards the left elbow. Shin goes out wide, so it's parallel to the floor. And then bring the right knee or left knee and left foot behind you. Foot goes up towards the ceiling. And then back down to meet the right. Switching directions, this time the right or left knee, left foot goes up and back behind you. Sole of the foot goes towards the ceiling. Bring the knee and foot to the outside, bringing the foot down so that it's parallel with the left shin. And then bring the left elbow or knee to the elbow. And then bring it up and back behind you one last time. And then that left leg comes out to the side so that the left shin is parallel with the floor. Left knee to left elbow, and then bring it back down to the mat. One last cat-cow here. Inhaling to lift the tailbone, drop the belly, broaden through the chest, and the chin comes up. And then rounding the spine, tucking the chin in. All right. So now we're gonna come to a seat here. We're gonna do our 90-90 rotations again. So you're gonna bring your left leg next to you here at a 90-degree angle. So that left leg is coming straight out from the side of you, bending at a 90 degrees so that the sole of the foot is facing behind you here. And then the right leg is coming straight out in front of you, bent at a 90-degree angle, so that you're kind of making like a little star-shapey thing here. And so now what you're gonna do is you can keep your fingertips on the floor behind you if you can't quite get this without hands, but we're gonna try to keep our hands up this time. And you can make fists with your hands to help you here. And you're gonna slowly start to bring that left knee up, and then the right knee follows, trying to keep the feet where they are. And then put both soles of the feet come down, and then that left knee comes down, and then finally the right knee comes last. And now you're gonna bring that right knee up. Keep everything engaged here. Left knee comes up, both soles of the feet on the ground, and then right knee comes down. Finally, left knee comes down. Nice work, guys. And now we're gonna lift that left knee up, coming back one more time. Right knee follows. Really keep that belly nice and engaged, soles of the feet on the ground, seat on the ground. And then bring that left knee down, right knee down. And now coming back, lift that right knee up, left knee follows. Soles of the feet on the ground. Bring the right knee down. And then finally finishing up, left knee comes down. Nice job. It's a little harder without using the hands on the floor. So we're gonna keep doing that now that we're a little more used to that. All right, so let's bring the soles of the feet together here. And then pull them in as far as you can go. And you're gonna place your hands kind of wherever's comfortable. I would actually, as I've thought about this and teaching this, it might be better to place your elbows on the insides of your knees first, and then let your hands land wherever they need to. So that could be, because everyone's arms are different lengths here, but we really want the elbows to be on the insides of the knees. So then let your hands lay wherever. It could be the tops of the shins, could be the tops of the feet, or it could be around the ankles here. Probably be around the ankles for most folks. So we're gonna lengthen through the spine. We're gonna do our typical little butterfly pails and rails here. So start to press the insides of the knees down with your elbows. And as you're doing so, you're continuing to lengthen through the spine and start to lean forward a little bit. And once you've kind of hit your end range, if you need to make any adjustments too, like if you need to slide your hands up, that's totally fine. Now, once you've hit your end range motion, we're gonna keep the elbows exactly where they're at, tone the belly and the shoulders, and start to press the insides of the knees or the thighs into the elbows, starting at 50% effort or so. And now try to draw the knees away from the elbows any amount here. Bring the knees back to the elbows and start to press in again. This time, maybe a little bit more effort. 60%, 70%. Then we're gonna hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release and then start to bring the knees away from the elbows. Once you've arrived there, at the furthest you can go, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees back to the elbows. Last time here, really pressing in with all of your might this time. Holding it for 5, keep everything engaged. 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw the knees away from the elbows. Last time here, you guys are doing great. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And go ahead, release. And we're gonna make our way all the way to our backs. Pull both knees into the chest. Little hug here. Let the left leg go long. Grab the outside of the right knee with the left hand, and we're gonna roll off onto that left hip. Letting the right leg go long, right arm go long. Nice little soft stretch here to finish up. No engagement is needed here. Just passively stretch to whatever point is comfortable for you. Roll back up to center. Pull both knees into the chest one more time. Then right leg goes long. Grab the outside of the left knee with your right hand. Rolling off onto that right hip, and then the left arm goes long next to you. Again, no engagement is needed here. Just stretch and relax. Come back up to center. Let both legs go long in front of you, arms down by your side. Making your way to your final resting pose of Shavasana. Letting the eyes relax and shut. You're tucking the shoulders down the back. And just breathe. Start to bring some awareness back to your breath and the body, wiggling fingers and toes. And then making movements bigger until you bend one knee at a time. Roll off to one side and press your way up to a comfortable seat. And once you've arrived, just take a moment to notice how you feel after that. Noticing any changes to the body or the hips. And take a moment of appreciation for your time spent on the mat this morning. Your hands to heart center. Thank you all for showing up this morning, sharing your practice, sharing your morning. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and namaste. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of your morning.
Yeah, you too.
Hopefully the hips feel nice and loose after that. And we'll get some new stuff in there next week. Might be from the roof deck next week.
Awesome.
So, hey. All right, dudes. Have a good one.